Very much so. I similar to audiences, like when I saw the film for the first time at the Toronto Film Festival with an audience. It was the first time I saw it, and I was really blown away by it. It was so beautiful and so many great songs, and it's funny and touching. And then I was very excited that they were going to make a second one, and then the second one I just recently watched, and it kind of exceeded my expectations. It's such a funny and sweet, and uh, it's just visually stunning. It's kind of everything you would want, especially right now. It feels like a movie that I think people will really be excited to go see right now because of what a crazy couple years it's been. Exactly. I think the first, yeah, it was the first one was about this competition. This one is they've now created this show together, and they're ready to take it to the next level. So they go to Red Shore City, which is kind of like Las Vegas, and you watch them, the struggles and trials of putting on a show and working together and coming up against a bunch of obstacles. But ultimately, the film is it's about how a group of friends come together to put on a show, and the joy of that, and part of the joy is how hard it is to put on a show, and this movie is an example of that. So uh Gunter, I'm sorry, I'm still,
We were we
yeah.
were we were talking about where Gunter was at the beginning. Oh, and the rest of the
Thank
people
you.
really.
So so the whole team is, they're doing their show in their city at their theater that Buster Moon has put on, and there's this feeling of like, let's take it to the next level, let's step it up, and they enter the bigger arena of Red Shore City, where there's tons of shows, and so the goal is to put on a bigger show with a larger spectacle and larger breadth, and all the challenges of trying to make that happen. And in this case, Gunter becomes, and the second film has a much more central role as a creative force of like what this new show should be about. And I think it's fun to see a wide-eyed character who is incredibly positive and thinks anything is possible. Oftentimes, those people are great to have writing a show, and also they make it much more difficult. You whenever in doubt, trust the German pig. They always have the best ideas for live stage shows, and I've said that for years. Yeah, he turns out to have a great idea, and it becomes, without even just kind of out of nowhere, becomes the way that they follow. And it's, as someone who writes a lot and collaborates with people, it's a good reminder that you can't, everyone can have a great idea. You just have to sort of listen to everyone, and sometimes those people will come out with the best idea that you would never have thought of. Well, the idea of this show that's out of this world is, I guess, really according to Gunter. Um, so there's some space, there's some sci-fi elements, and then there's action, and there's romance. Gunter is a stand-in for what audiences always want to see, which is a lot of big soaring spectacle and drama and excitement, and in this case it pays off to put on a show that's truly out of this world. Well, I mean, I obviously I get to voice him, so it's very fun for me to play a character who is so positive and has such an open, bright-eyed perspective on the world. And I also really love the way he dances, and his physicality is tremendous, which I don't take any credit for. So I didn't, until I saw the movie, I didn't realize how kind of beautifully he was going to move. And I kind of, every time I see it, it tickles me, because there's no way I could dance nearly as well as Gunter. But I get to take some credit for it. Absolutely. To be exactly who you are, and to not shy away from it, and to embrace your enthusiasm for the world is a really great message, not only for the people watching the film, but for me as well, as a performer, as a writer. It's a good reminder for me to to not be afraid to just sort of embrace it all and take in the world. Yeah, it's in the first film, they Gunter and Rosita, a lot of their work was together, and I think it's so funny. It's so funny to think about it, but I think that's what's so uh, surprising about this film is how emotional it is. Um, and like someone like Rosita's character, voiced by Reese Witherspoon, it's weirdly for a film about a bunch of singing animals, it's incredibly human. Um, I find it oftentimes very moving, and I think Gunter is there to support his friend Rosita as she tries to get over some of her fears in the first film and in this new film. And it's like a joy to see them interact and to see them support each other.